Hi guys, welcome back to the Streets of London Property News. Let's jump straight into today's article. Wealthy UAE residents look to snap up prime London property. I think this has been a phenomena for over the last 20 or 30 years. Let's read what the article has to say. A depressed prime property market and the new tax-free regime have made buying in London more attractive to wealthy United Arab Emirates residents over the past year, according to Knight Frank and their tax advisors. How true is this, or is it a marketing pitch by the agents? Let's evaluate, but first let me read on. Property agents and tax lawyers told the Financial Times that purchasers, including UAE nationals and long-term UK expats, with some looking to relocate and others wanting a foothold in London at decade low prices. Well, prices possibly have come down, but it really depends on the style of property that you buy. And I always say, what's your property lane? Is it new build apartments? Is it apartments in period conversions? Or is it family homes? Let's read on. Prime property in the UK capital has been in a slump over the past decade, in part because of higher housing levies, uncertainty over Brexit and non-dom tax changes. It carries on. The prices in Kensington and Chelsea fell to their lowest since 2013 in May 2025. I'm going to come back to this in a moment. Ex-Chancellor Rachel Reeves abolished non-dom status and initiated a tax regime under which rich foreign arrivals are those returning to the UK after a decade overseas do not pay tax on their foreign income and gains. This is known as the FIG. What this effectively means is that people that are returning back to the UK will not be taxed on their foreign income, which is a good thing, and it will also encourage expats to come back to the UK. A tax lawyer who specializes in the Middle East said, "I've got one British expat client who's been in Dubai for a long time, and he is now moving back to the UK and taking advantage of the new 4-year FIG regime." You see, expats will always be expats, and it does not feel like home. Your family and your friends are always going to be wherever you're coming from, whether it's the UK or any other country in the world when you migrate to a foreign land for work. But as they say, you can always take the man out of London, but you can never take the London out of the man. Let's carry on. Stuart Bailey, head of Prime Central London sales at estate agents Knight Frank, said, "If you are from the UAE, for example, and of a generation that has not yet bought in London, both the suppressed pricing and a 4-year FIG regime represents a good time to buy." Personally, I agree, but what I think is really important is for the buyers to be knowledgeable and understand the different types of property and locations that Prime Central London has to offer. And things have changed over the last 10 to 15 years, and you've got to understand the pros and the cons of certain locations, and things can change from road to road. Non-doms being pushed out of London certainly doesn't benefit the wider economy or the government with reduced stamp duty being collected, but it works well for opportunistic buyers with less competition, all the better, he added. There's deals to be had, and what I always say, the money is made on the purchase, not on the resale. Let's carry on. UAE nationals accounted for 3% of overseas buyers in prime central London in the year to July, up from 0.6%, which is quite a big jump, to be honest, from 0.6% to 3% from the previous year, according to Knight Frank, which declined to provide absolute numbers. Lisa Jane Kelly, head of London residential at estate agent Savill, another corporate agent, said she had found both homes for 2 returning British expats in the past 3 months. Both of them wanted UK education for their children, and one cited tax reasons too. The key thing is they wanted homes, and there is a big difference between buying in an apartment as an investment and buying a family home. Family homes at the right price point, in the right location, they will always see low supply and high demand. One said they've been in Dubai for 15 years and it's changed and it's got a lot busier. So as the population increases, it's going to get busier. Kelly said the returnees bought in Chelsea and Knightsbridge respectively, spending between 4 million and 6.5 million pounds. So you see there's a big difference which a lot of people don't understand between Chelsea and Knightsbridge. Chelsea, I would say, is more residential and it's more community based, whereas Knightsbridge is more transitional, and the key thing is buying on the right road. This is where a buying agent could be the difference between making and losing money. Interest in the UK property goes beyond homes. Middle East family offices and wealthy individuals have invested £245 million in UK commercial real estate so far this year, compared with just 25 million for all of 2024, according to Knight Frank. Now that's a huge number. In 2024 it was 25 million, and 1 year later it was 245 million pounds. It could be offices, it could be logistics, it could be shop houses, and ideally professional investors are looking for a rental yield of 7%, and that includes funds from the Far East, Asia and the Middle East. This is how deals are usually packaged for institutional investors, where they offer a 7% gross yield. Let's finish off. The Treasury said the UK remains a highly attractive place to live and invest. Our main capital gains tax rate is lower than any other G7 European country, and our new residence-based regime is simpler and more attractive for the previous one. Look, what I'm going to say is that the main difference between ourselves and the G7 countries is that London remains a aspirational city of the world. We in London have an amazing city, an amazing culture, amazing history, and the tourism that we attract beats any other G7 country out there. Let's have a look at two examples. See, the key thing is the family home market. When you're relocating to London and you're looking for a family home, you've got to understand the prices per square foot and what people are actually looking for. Right, the first one is Queensgate, and there is a house on the market for £24.5 million. It has a square footage of 14,687. It's got 6 levels including a basement. Now, internally, it's been refurbished to a high standard with lots of period features, and it looks lovely. And the price per square foot is quite attractive at £1,650. Let's now compare it to a property in Fulham. This one here is on a road called Tregunta Road. It's on for £30 million. It has a square footage of 8,304 square feet, which represents a price per square foot of £3,700. One would assume that Knightsbridge is a better location, but there is a huge difference between the two. Tregunta is a nice residential family home street, whereas Queensgate, although it has got a historic and regal name, also close to Imperial University and Hyde Park, it lacks that community feel, and it's a very international and transient location. Let's just have a look at the picture of the building in Queensgate. It looks really, really nice, but can you see how tall it is and how many floors it's got? And if we have a look at the floor plan, it's clear to see that this property does not have a lift, and that's a major problem. When it comes to buyers from Qatar, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi and even Singapore and Hong Kong, an end user would normally want a lift. And when you compare it to this picture of Tregunta, you'll see there is a period property which is wider than the Queensgate, and it's also on 4 floors, and it offers lateral living and it gives you that feeling of space. Now remember what I said, you always make money on the purchase, and the key is finding deals. This is why it's so important to have a buying agent on your side. London property seems easy, but there's many investors that have bought in wrong projects. A prime example could be Damac Tower, where 2-bedroom flats were purchased for 2.5 million, and the owners would be lucky to exit at 1.5 million, making a loss of £1 million. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. My name's Monty, on the streets of London. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.